I'm back. Hi, thanks for joining me on another episode of Grub Gab with Pixie. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to fancify my electric lemon bar recipe. Yep, there's a layer of jam between the crust and the lemon bar filling just to give it a little extra fanciness, because as if lemon bars aren't fancy enough already, let's make it fancier and deliciouser. Mainly I wanted to make lemon bars because I wanted to show off my lemony sweater because, you know, thematics matter. And today we're going to be talking about food preferences. So before I start running my mouth, I'm going to show you how to make these lemon bars, which I'm going to put in my mouth. Start by making the crust. In a large bowl, combine 1 cup of all-purpose flour with half a cup of softened, unsalted butter. Then add a 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, a pinch of salt, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then combine the ingredients together. I like to start off by cutting the butter in with a pastry cutter. And when it's mostly combined, I'd like to move on to work with my hands. Once the dough is combined with no dry flour spots left, distribute the pieces of it along a greased 8x8 baking dish. And once the dough is in the dish, press it out to form an even layer for the crust. Make sure you press down the edges so they don't burn. Then bake it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. Once it's done, remove the crust from the oven and set it aside to let it cool down for 10 minutes. Once it's cooled, spread a layer of jam across the crust. For this recipe, I'm using strawberry jam, but blueberry jam is also a good flavor option to use. You just want to make sure you have a nice layer of jam so you can taste it coming through with the lemon bars. Next, it's time to move on to the lemon filling. Crack 2 large eggs into a mixing bowl and whisk together for about 1 minute. Then add 1 cup of white sugar and a pinch of salt. And whisk it together for about 5 minutes. You want to make sure the egg mixture becomes pale, creamy, and a little bit fluffy. Next, zest 1 medium-sized lemon. I'm using a Meyer lemon for this recipe. Add the lemon zest to the egg mixture. Then juice the whole lemon into the egg mixture. Whisk together to combine well. Next, add in half a teaspoon of baking powder and a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. I sifted in to make sure there are no lumps in the flour when you add it to the egg mixture, and whisk well to combine. Next, carefully pour your lemon filling over the jam and crust. Then carefully place it in the oven at 350 degrees. And bake it for about 25 minutes. You want to make sure the lemon layer sets, and when you take it out, it doesn't wiggle. Set it aside to completely cool before serving. I actually like to leave my lemon bars in the fridge overnight because there's something about that makes it extra delicious. And then cut to serve. I like to add a sprinkling of powdered sugar to my lemon bars before eating. And don't forget, you can always get the written recipe with measurements at my website, PixieNoms.com. Okie dokie, so before I start running my mouth about food preferences, let me take a bite of this. There's a fork this time, so this probably could end up in Kletso disaster. So the crust is nice and buttery. It's like a shortbread cookie almost, but it's very tender and it melts in your mouth. The layer of strawberry jam mixed with the lemon bar layer makes it taste so much like strawberry lemonade, which is one of my favorite lemonades to make. So if you want to just have something other than just a plain lemon bar, go ahead and add a layer of jam. Oh, see, I knew this was gonna, oh, now there's, I laugh, now there's powdered sugar all over the desk. It's all over the table. There's no way to have a dessert with powdered sugar without it ending in like a snowy disaster. But it's so worth it. It's so good. Today I'm going to be talking about food preferences, mainly because I shared an article on Facebook and it seemed to bring about very strong polar opinions about food, specifically mayonnaise. So I am not a huge fan of mayonnaise. I don't like the taste. I don't like the texture. I don't like the smell. Anything with mayonnaise in it is pretty much disgusting. Except my dad makes a fantastic potato salad. And that is pretty much the only time I'll eat mayonnaise is in his potato salad. And I've tried to replicate his potato salad. I don't know what sort of magic he has that makes me like mayonnaise, but that is the only instance where I like mayonnaise. Now, don't get me started on the whole aioli argument. We can save that for later in the conversation. So, I shared this article on Facebook that said, basically, science agrees that mayonnaise is disgusting. And I was just kind of cheekily posting like, oh hey, look at that. Validation that mayonnaise is gross. Booyah, told you so. And you know, I get it. People like mayonnaise because, I mean, it exists for a reason. It's popular for a reason. It's on every sandwich you get from everywhere because most people like mayonnaise. I tend to think I'm one of the few odd ones who doesn't like mayonnaise. So after I posted this article on Facebook, I didn't realize like how strongly people were going to react to it. Like, it's a pretty common thing. I let people know all the time that I hate mayonnaise. I don't like the smell of it. I think it's disgusting. I know I said that earlier, but I can't reiterate it enough on how much I hate mayonnaise. And even if there's just a little bit of it in something, no, everything is ruined. Ruined. Throw it away. I'm just kidding. But basically people were saying like, you should try mayonnaise in this, or have you ever had mayonnaise in that? And it's just like, you know, yeah, I've tried mayonnaise a bunch of different ways, and I still think it's disgusting. Let's pause those thoughts for a moment so I can get another couple of bites of my lemon bar. I'm using my psychic powers to make my fork stay so it doesn't go sliding off onto the table. Basically, my comment section on Facebook turned into this flurry of people either agreeing with me that mayonnaise is disgusting or people unable to comprehend why I don't like mayonnaise, and maybe I should try it this way or put it in this way, or maybe if I tried it this way I would like mayonnaise. And I just want to say, I've tried mayonnaise many different ways throughout my life. I still think it's disgusting. And it kind of makes me think that, when people have food preferences, there's just something about people that gets them, I don't know, riled up, and they're like, no, it's impossible that you don't like this food. You must try it. You must be wrong. And it's like, it becomes a fight to convince somebody that they should try a food that they don't like to like it. And, it's cool when it's in a playful way, but there are some people who are just so adamant that oh, well, you don't like oysters? Well, clearly you haven't had a good oyster. It's like, well, I guess that's true in a way. I haven't had a good oyster because all of them are absolutely disgusting to me. Yeah, you got me there. My bad. But it just kind of, I don't know, it's people like the foods that they like, and people don't like the foods that they don't like. And I'm pretty sure, if people want to be adventurous and try the foods that they don't like again later in the life, they'll do it without you trying to convince them. Because when you're just trying to shove something at them, saying, no, try it, you'll like it, it kind of makes, well, me personally, it makes me recoil, going, no, I don't want to taste it. It makes me just more, it makes me want to avoid trying it even more than before. Because it's just, why are you pressuring me to put certain foods in my mouth? Just stop. And then there are those really super cocky people who are like, well, you don't like that food because you haven't had it the way I make it. And it's like, no, I'm pretty sure I don't like this food. Doesn't matter if you make it, doesn't matter if I make it. I'm pretty well versed in the kitchen, and if I can't make it to the way I like it, pretty sure you kind of can't do the same either. Big bold exclaimer, except for my dad's potato salad. That's the only way I'll eat mayonnaise. People have their food preferences. Like my brother, he doesn't like raw tomatoes, but he does like tomato products like, pasta sauce, spaghetti sauce, ketchup. To him, it's a texture thing. Nothing can change the texture of a raw tomato, so he's never ever going to ever like raw tomatoes. And, I don't try to shove raw tomatoes down his throat. I might jokingly try to sneak it into his food, but he always finds it and he always picks it out. So, it's like, what's the point of that? But it's just the whole trying to convince somebody that they should like a food because other people like them is just kind of a dumb argument. I mean, I don't like mayonnaise, other people do. If people want to put mayonnaise all over their sandwich, go for it. I'm not eating that sandwich, so what does it matter to me if someone likes, to eat mayonnaise straight from a jar? I think it's disgusting. I personally wouldn't do it, but then again, I'm not the one eating the mayonnaise out of the jar. So really, what does it matter to me? What does it affect me, Talking about mayonnaise makes me feel like I can taste it in my mouth, so let's eat some of my lemon bar to erase the memory of the mayonnaise taste. I guess what I'm saying is that I don't really like when people try to shame other people for having their food preferences. It doesn't matter what people eat or what they don't eat. I get that it's fun to kind of joke around with your friends or mock them or, make a little fun of them for not wanting to eat certain foods. What really gets to me is when people are purposely trying to embarrass or shame somebody when they don't like a certain food, that's just the way it is. People aren't gonna like all the food in the world. People aren't going to enjoy every food possibility that's out there. So if it's not affecting you, if they're not, making your life miserable by avoiding the foods that they don't like, then what does it matter to you? In conclusion, you do you, boo. You know what I mean? It's like people are gonna like what they like and they're gonna eat it, and people are gonna avoid what they don't like and don't eat it. So, you know, really, what does it matter? Let people eat what they want to eat, because ultimately what they eat doesn't really affect you in your life, right? Right. I'm glad I can answer myself on these things. Last bite, last bite. And we're done. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Grub and Gab with me, Pixie, the special Citralicious, so delicious episode. I have to go wash the dishes now, so until next time, toodles. Bye. Citralicious. Citralicious? Citruslicious? Citralicious. So delicious.